And then the madness kicks in.
Yeah, they send. I think they send one engineer, played by, I think his name's Jack Noseworthy.
Yes. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. We are finally back. It's been a long time. It's been a minute. I know you've been waiting. I know you miss us. But yeah, the Calvin Cam is officially back. And here we are again for the second annual 31 Days of Halloween. And I am so excited to do this. We have been really looking forward to doing this. And there's just been so much going on in life, a lot of moving around. I moved houses. Anthony moved houses. We are in the new studio. It looks amazing. We have decorated it for Halloween for these 31 days, and I'm really stoked to be doing this again. And I can't thank all of you enough, because without your support, we couldn't have taken that break that we did to get all of this set up the way that we have. We are extremely grateful and extremely excited about all of this. And I can't thank all of the fans who have tuned in throughout the entire year that we've been doing this. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we really appreciate it. I'm so happy to be back. We didn't lose any ground on YouTube. I mean, we lost maybe 1 or 2 subscribers, but hey, we'll get some more.
Hopefully, yeah. If you're new, hit that subscribe button. Help us out. It helps us out a lot. We also have a Patreon. So if you go to patreon.com/thecalvincam, you can join there, and that's the best way to donate to this wonderful channel that we're doing. And we will also have these videos available for you on Spotify and Apple Music. We've evolved. We're new. We're the fresh Calvin Cam. So it's really exciting stuff, and I can't wait to get started. So it is October 1st when you are watching this, and we're going to be talking about a movie where you go through hell in space. I'm talking about the Event Horizon.
Event Horizon, we have it here.
Event Horizon is a 1997 sci-fi horror film that stars Sam Neill and Lawrence Fishburne. You may know Sam Neill as Dr. Alan Grant from Jurassic Park. I think that's what he's best known for. I absolutely adore Sam Neill. Ever since I watched Jurassic Park, and for those of you who are new, Jurassic Park is my favorite movie of all time. A lot of you already know that. Sam Neill inspired me in a lot of ways. Just growing up, I sought out a lot of his films. And even Merlin, the sci-fi show, the TV miniseries. Merlin,
I have not watched that, but
oh my God, Merlin is incredible. It's something I like to go back to every once in a while. The production is super poor quality, but oh my God, is it screams that nostalgic magic of the 90s and early to late 80s. It's just very nostalgic. Sam Neill plays Merlin, and it's all about the story of King Arthur and the Lady of the Lake and all that stuff. It's really good. So you should check it out when you get a chance. I've also know Sam Neill very well because I used to watch the live action Jungle Book movie back in the day, which a lot of people don't know but should watch. Sam Neill is in it, and he is Mowgli's love interest's dad, and it is so incredible. That movie is A tier, if you ask me, and I would love to do an episode on that movie at some point during this channel. So
yeah, Sam Neill's been so many good films. I mean, he's in Pinky Blinders as well.
Yeah, I think that's what a lot of people nowadays know him from, Pinky Blinders. I know he was in a cool vampire movie called Daybreakers. I watched that one time. I deserve a rewatch.
He's also in another movie that I'm fond of, is In the Mouth of Madness.
Yes, I have seen. I've never seen the movie, but I've seen a lot of clips from that movie, and it looks trippy.
Yeah, it's a great film.
So, yeah, and then we have Lawrence Fishburne, who is Morpheus from The Matrix. He's been in John Wick. He's been in tons of movies.
I mean, I'll even take one way back. He was in Deep Cover with Snoop Dogg.
Yeah. Wait.
Or actually, I think Snoop Dogg did the soundtrack. He wasn't in the movie.
Okay. Um,
Fact
yeah.
check me if I'm wrong.
No, I'm sure. Let's see. This movie is an incredible watch. Like, I think that this movie is rewatching this movie. It's been a while since I've seen it. I think the first time that I watched this movie I was around, I want to say like 15. I watched this with my best friend Pedro, who has been on the podcast before. We watched this in his room, and it was such a trip because, I mean, for one, we love sci-fi movies, and this was just like on there, and I saw that Sam Neill was in it, so I was like, okay, we've got to check this out. But this movie is it cracks me up, and it's not a funny movie by any means. It cracks me up though, because watching this movie, I realized something. One of my favorite video games of all time, Dead Space, is 100% ripping off this movie.
Without a fact, with that, just the whole thing with the story, like the core of the ship is pretty much the marker.
Yeah. So let's I'll tell you a bit about the plot of this movie. Basically, there is a ship. It's called the Event Horizon. The movie takes place in 2047, and it goes off into a deep space mission where it goes to do like a space, what was it, not interdimensional travel, but just like how to get from point A to point B in a single instance. And so by doing such thing, Sam Neill explains in the movie that you go to they go through kind of like an interdimensional, there's some kind of interdimensional travel. The ship unintentionally passes through a dimension that is pure chaos and essentially evil and is hell. And so that kind of dimension infects the ship itself into a kind of like a psychological being,
Yeah, it's
of sorts.
The ship itself becomes like a conduit.
Yeah. So it is just spewing with madness. So so the other sorry, I'm stuttering. The movie is about a team of just
Isn't it like
scientists,
a scientist and a military team go to find the ship because it's been gone for 7 years?
Yeah.
And then just resurfaced?
Yeah. And Sam Neill is the engineer who created the Event Horizon, which Isaac Clarke is the engineer for the Ishimura. It's just a lot of parallels to Dead Space. And I really think that that's really cool. So this group of scientists and military experts get together. They go to search for the Event Horizon. Well, they go on a secret mission. They don't know it's for the Event Horizon initially, but Sam Neill does because he's the engineer. And then they discover that that's what they are doing. They get briefed that the mission is to investigate the disappearance of the Event Horizon. They find the ship. They they investigate. They see zero survivors, zero signs of life. And then the madness kicks in.
Yeah, they send I think they send one engineer played by, I think his name's Jack Noseworthy.
Yes.
Jack Noseworthy, I know him from U571, and he's been in a bunch of other films.
Oh yeah, and I recognize him from Law and Order.
So he goes in there and he comes out and he's just like, he's in a coma when he comes out.
Yeah, and they're like, maybe he'll wake up in 15 minutes, maybe he won't wake up at all. Like they really have no idea what's going on. And then furthermore, on the investigation of the Event Horizon, they discovered that the crew went completely mad and killed each other and killed themselves. And it was a complete and utter bloodbath, basically. And it's really like graphic. Like watching when they discover the videotape that shows what happens to the crew, like there are people like tearing their eyes out. Like it's pretty graphic. It's pretty crazy.
It is pretty gruesome.
Which is another nod to Dead Space, because in Dead Space,
you have the necromorphs.
You have the necromorphs. You go mad. You become these creatures, and your limbs are weird, and you have no eyes. And like it's nuts. But one thing that's different than this movie compared to Dead Space is that eventually Sam Neill ends up being the bad guy, ultimately, and he gets infected by the ship and embraces the chaos. And it's up to Lawrence Fishburne and a few others to make it out alive.
Yeah, and there's a part where like his eyes are all sewn shut, and he's been totally corrupted by the ship, completely corrupted by the ship. And I just thought just the look of his corrupted looked really really good on screen. Also for the time period for 1997, I thought the visual effects in this movie were really good. Like the whole when they go in to see the core, you have this nice parallel shot of everything spinning around. Like it looks really good.
No, aesthetically, it definitely looks good. It where it really shows its age is in the CGI. The CGI of this movie is pretty like, eh.
Yeah.
There are parts where they're in anti gravity spaces, and like the things are floating around are clearly just like, this is a very fake room with very fake things in it. So
yeah.
But all in all, like, this movie is a great watch. And I think that I highly, highly recommend people check it out, especially those who love the sci-fi genre. If you love Dead Space, you'll definitely want to watch this movie. This is like one of my favorite sci-fi horror movies. So that's why we put it on our list this year. And another thing to go along with,
not to mention, we had a lot of people reach out to us and wanted us to review this movie for next year, so that's why we're reviewing it. It's on our list this time.
Yeah, it was really cool to see a lot of people actually want to see this film talked about, because I really didn't know there was this kind of love for this film. So I'm happy I'm not the only one out here who like really likes this movie. But another thing about this year's 31 Days that I want to talk about real quick is we decided so last year we did this list of movies where we just picked ones that were really like popular, movies that we think like people really like. Maybe we didn't like them so much. Some of them we did, some of them we didn't, yada yada yada. This year, this is all about movies that we love. This is about movies that I've made this whole entire list about movies that I genuinely love to talk about. And that's what's different about this year, is we're focusing more positive feedback on certain films, and I really like all of the movies that we have picked out.
Yeah.
So
last year was great though. Still, we just kind of focused on just like the backbones of horror, and it was a lot of we did a lot of 80s horror films, but they're all like iconic characters and just the backbones of horror.
Yeah,
like,
we did the very iconic, Scream, Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, all that stuff. This year it's a little bit more all over the place. I made a list for pretty much everyone. There's a lot of creature features on here. There's a lot of sci-fi. There's comedy horror. There's kids movies that are on here. There's drama horror. There's all kinds of horror on here, and it's a list that's made for everyone to enjoy. So I really like this, and if you're a fan of the show, I think you're really gonna expect like to see some really cool stuff on here. Also, we are going to have some bonus episodes that'll be up on Patreon. We will announce those in later episodes. So, keep watching and look forward to seeing what those bonus episodes are. But they will be exclusive to Patreon. So that's another reason why you want to help us out over there. So, but back to Event Horizon. If I were to rate this film on a scale of like my personal enjoyment, I'd give this movie around an 8 out of 10. Like a 4 out of 5 stars. I know critically this movie sits probably around a 2.5 or a 3 for the film bros out there. But nonetheless, I think this is amazing, and I think it's totally worth your time. So, what would you get this?
You know what? I actually enjoyed this film, and the Dead Space connection with everything, how, Dead Space kind of ripped this movie off. Aesthetically, I like the look of the film. The acting by Lawrence Fishburne and Noseworthy and the rest of the actors, it was great. Sam Neill was good, so the acting was good. The visuals, for the time period, they were really, really well done. I thought the pacing in this movie was pretty good. It kind of slows down, but it's okay. Overall, I'd give this movie, it's a 4 out of 5 for me.
Yeah, I think it's just a solid movie, and it's definitely worth your time. So I have a little bit of trivia for you, or not trivia, but fun facts like we used to do previously. We are going to be introducing a lot more games and like little entertainment segments during these episodes as well, but we are discussing those, so expect to see some more interesting stuff. But for now, we're going to stick to the old usual stuff, fun facts, and trivia. Trivia fact number 1. Okay, here we go. Paul W.S. Anderson's initial cut of the film ran 130 minutes. Paul Anderson, if you didn't know, he worked on a lot of movies like Resident Evil, all of the ones with Mila Jovovich, and he's written a lot of countless screenplays, but his initial cut of this film ran 130 minutes and was so violent that both test audiences and the studio balked at the finished product. Paramount ordered him to cut the film by 30 minutes and tone down some of the violence. Anderson has said he didn't have enough time to properly re-edit and believes he cut out 10 minutes too much. Although it was announced in 2012 that the producer Lloyd Levin had found a VHS tape that might contain a full version of the film, Anderson revealed in 2017 that neither he nor Levin have seen it yet. So, as they have both been too busy to be in the same country with a VHS player, although he believes that the condition of the copy will be too poor to use, Anderson has stated that he is still excited to see what's on it. That's kind of cool. It's a funny concept that VHSs are just not in the home anymore, which is weird for me because I have so many VHSs still, and I don't have a VHS player.
I don't even have one anymore, but
it's funny.
It's just funny. So the only director's cut was literally a VHS.
Yeah.
We do have some VHSs right here in our new set, but we don't have any players.
No, but there's no players.
Yeah.
And I think that's funny because like even at home, in my house, I have my PlayStation 5 is my only disc player. Like, besides that, there's nothing. So it's just like a very interesting, like modern problem, or not even a problem, but it's just like nobody has VHS anymore.
I mean, you should probably find one at the thrift store.
Yeah. All right. Fun fact number 2, at around 5 minutes, the rotational shot of the space station over Earth took nearly a third of the film's visual effects budget. I knew it. It's that shot of the CGI that I'm talking about, and it's so CGI and bad.
But was it the core? Like when they did
it's
the core?
like it's if you look at the poster, the long part when they're in there, it's when it's rotating around.
Yeah. So the entry to the core.
Yeah.
So this part, like right here.
Yeah, that part. So it's just
it's cool that we have this reference now.
Yeah. Dang though, a third of the film's budget for that. Fun fact number 3, the script originally described the Gateway machine as a smooth and featureless black orb, 10 meters, nearly 33 feet in diameter, suspended in mid-air between large rotating mechanical arms. It also was said to contain a stable black hole within it at all times, which the ship used as a power source, as opposed to briefly creating a temporary one. Paul Anderson decided to redesign it to involve interlocking circles as a homage to the puzzle box in Hellraiser, which served as an inspiration.
Oh, that I can see that.
Yeah,
that similarity. That's cool.
Especially like if you think about the core room, like how all the spikes are around it completely.
Yep.
Like, yeah, it's very Hellraiser.
And then you got pinhead stuff there too.
Yeah, totally. Totally. Some spacesuits have flags showing hypothetical future political changes on Earth. Characters portrayed by British actors wear a European Union flag with 22 stars, replacing the Union Jack. The movie predates the UK's 2016 vote to leave the European Union. Sir Sam Neill, his character wears a modified Australian flag with the Union Jack removed from the top left-hand corner and the Aboriginal flag in its place. So
interesting. Yeah, I totally see that.
And it's funny because like this movie's set in a future that's not too far from us. It's like 20 years away from where we're at right now. So because 2047,
yeah,
like
it's coming up pretty close.
It'll be here before we know it. So, having just done a PG-13 movie, Mortal Kombat, Paul Anderson was very keen to do something more mature and gruesome. This was why he turned down this chance to direct X-Men.
Oh, cool.
Which is interesting because he could have made X-Men. I think that.
Oh, you mean the original X-Men when Fox owned the
Fox's
properties?
X-Men. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So, but I also forgot that Paul Anderson did direct Mortal Kombat. So, another fun fact: Paul Anderson's initial rough cuts submitted to the MPAA received the Kiss of Death NC-17 rating. So.
It was a pretty brutal movie, so.
It is. And then we'll do one last fun fact, okay? Here we go. I'll pick a doozy. A popular fan theory states that the Event Horizon is set in the same universe as the popular tabletop game Warhammer 40K. Screenwriter Philip Eisner was an avid player of Warhammer 40K and revealed in 2017 that the game was a major influence on Event Horizon. The theory states that Event Horizon is a prequel to the setting of Warhammer 40K because of the similarities between Event Horizon's description of Hell and the macabre alternate dimension, the Warp, in Warhammer 40K. Ships that access the Warp for faster than light space travel will get infested with warp entities such as daemons and enslavers unless they are protected by a Geller field, which could explain what happened in Event Horizon.
Wow, that's a great fact, actually.
Yeah.
Daemon hosts and stuff like that. So that the look of this ship actually looks like an Imperium war freighter because it kind of looks like it, the actual design.
Yeah, now that I'm seeing it, I'm like,
so it really pays homage to that. Now that I can actually see that, it's a really cool fact. Also, the whole idea of the possession. That's how corrupted space marines become daemons in chaos.
Yeah,
is they get corrupted that way. So going through a different plane corrupts them, so they become corrupted chaos space marines and stuff.
That's such a cool fact.
And corn berserkers and stuff.
That's a really cool fact. That
is an amazing fact. I had no idea.
It's a fun fact. For sure. So Event Horizon, man, I wonder if Henry Cavill has seen this. He's like that's his favorite thing in the world is for Warhammer 40K.
Yeah.
He's actually going to be doing the movie.
That's great.
So I'm like super stoked for that. If you love Henry Cavill, look forward to it. But yeah, that's it for our Event Horizon episode. Thank you so much for tuning into the channel. Remember, please go support us on Patreon and subscribe. Please subscribe. Spread the word. We're doing some fun stuff here, and I'm excited to show you a lot of what we have in store.
Yeah, I'm grateful we're back. I'm grateful that we had this long period to reflect on what we wanted to do, and I'm glad that we're back and doing all this content, and I'm so excited. I'm glad everyone, thank you for being here. Thanks for our longtime subscribers. I'm glad that you guys, we have our stuff back, and any of the new people. It's just like we're here. We're back.
We're here.
And
Please.
31 days is how we started our video podcast. So,
yeah, it is. So it's kind of just like it's like an anniversary.
Yeah.
So, all right. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.
Good night, everyone.